Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today I wanted to talk to you about what my collection, my makeup collection would look like if I was not a YouTuber, if I didn't blog, if I didn't do videos for you guys, and therefore want to try lots of things and lots of products and build up a really nice collection to use for videos. So I feel like if I did not have my YouTube, I'd be a lot more strict with my spending. I would have a good, I'm still a makeup fan, I'm still passionate about makeup. Before I started my YouTube channel, I still had more makeup than like all of my friends, and definitely more than like my mum and my sister. But yeah, obviously it has grown and grown since I've been doing my YouTube channel and been excited to try things for my channel. So I thought I would share with you what, in my opinion, is a sensible collection, what I would narrow my collection down to, I think, if I did not have my YouTube channel. So I'm kind of gonna try to go in order that I would like put the makeup on, just because why not? Makes more sense than any other way, in my opinion. So first up, primers. One primer. I don't feel like there's any reason to have multiple primers if you aren't a blogger, if you aren't a makeup artist. To me, you pick a primer that works for you, that works with your foundations, that does what you want it to do, and you only need one. So my one would be the Tatcha Silk Canvas. It does everything I need to do. I use it every single day that I do my makeup, unless I'm specifically wanting a primer with SPF, but I could always use my SPF instead of that. So one primer is all that is needed. If you aren't a makeup artist, if you aren't a beauty blogger, you only need one primer if you're happy with it and it does what you want it to do. Next up, foundation. Now you could kind of argue that you only really need one foundation, kind of, but to me, I've always had several foundations because they are so different to each other, and I have different preferences depending on the occasion, different requirements, different goals for my foundation depending on the day, the time of day, the occasion, etc. So I have narrowed it down to 3. I think 3 is a good number that can kind of give you options for different scenarios, but it's not excessive. So the first one is, of course, my Rodior, can't live without it. This is kind of your full beat, full glam, full coverage foundation. Works really, really well for daytime or nighttime. Long days like events, weddings, things like that, you can always rely on this one. Photographs well, kind of does that like full glam bit, if you will. So that's the one that I would choose for the full glam, long occasions where I want to look beat. Next up, the opposite end of the spectrum, a light coverage, summer hot day, got some SPF in it, not very heavy, looks natural, and that would be the Lancome Skin Feels Good Skin Tint. Very hydrating, SPF 23, light coverage, kind of the opposite end of the spectrum to the Rodior. And then a kind of middle option, this is the Laura Mercier Flawless Lumiere Radiance Perfecting Foundation. So this gives me a more made up look, but still really luminous, still really skin-like, kind of a dewier version of the Rodior. It's kind of like a middle ground between the two. Those 3 foundations, I feel like that's a reasonable number to choose. 3 different type of foundations, different types of finishes that will kind of cover you for any day that you might have that you're going to be wearing makeup. So with concealers, I feel like 2 is enough for anybody who's not a makeup artist, not a professional, not got any reason to be collecting makeup willy-nilly. A light coverage foundation, this is the oh dear. A light coverage foundation for very natural days, no makeup days. A concealer that you don't really have to set if you don't want to put powder on your face, hot weather, all that kind of stuff. And I've chosen the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Super Concealer, a favourite of mine. Very lightweight, wears really nicely, very natural looking, but not mega full coverage. So for that, those full beat, full coverage, don't want any under eye darkness showing through, does need to be set with powder, is my Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer. Can't get a more full coverage than this bad boy. So for full beat, evenings out, full glam, this would be my choice. 1 setting powder. Why do you need more than 1 setting powder? pick your favourite, have one. Why do you need more than one? If you're not working on different skin types, if you're not comparing, if you're not reviewing, you only need one setting powder. So I've chosen the Jeffree Star. This is my favourite under eye setting powder. It also would work really nicely if I needed to set my face, which I don't. But again, if you do, then pick a setting powder you can use under the eyes and on your face, if possible. Obviously everyone has different skin, it's not always possible, so in that case you're allowed to. So then for cheek products, I think when I was looking at like blushes, I started off like picking blushes from all over the place, and I thought actually what I did before I started my channel, and what I think is a really good idea, is a self-made palette. If you are not a makeup artist, if you are not a blogger and you don't need 25 blushes or more like me, blush is my thing, so I've given myself like a whole self-made palette. This palette is from MAC, very inexpensive, and then you can buy the pan blushes. I don't hold this up too much because I think a couple of these are a bit loose, but I'll take you through the blushes that are in here. This is Modern Mandarin, Sweet as Cocoa, Copper Tone, Spring Sheen, Pinch Me, Make You Mine at the bottom, Cantaloupe, and Mocha. So this is my like most commonly used self-made MAC palette. So all of these are MAC blushes and they cover all bases. So between 2, 4, 6, 8 blushes, I've got everything I could possibly need, and I've got to choose all the shades myself. Obviously this is excessive, but I'm a huge blush fan, so if I was to say 2 or 3 blushes, I'd end up buying more because there's just all different shades and finishes in here. You know, Modern Mandarin is really glowy, so is Sweet as Cocoa, and then I've got some mattes in here like Make You Mine and Pinch Me in case I'm wearing a glowier bronzer. I've got a lot of highlight or glow foundation. I need some matte options as well. So I feel like a self-made palette is a realistic way, you know, you can fill this up slowly over time and get a shade that covers you for every occasion, and for summer and winter if your skin tone changes like mine does. So that's kind of what I would do if I didn't have my YouTube channel. Then for bronzer, I've got one single bronzer, and this is Anastasia Beverly Hills' Saddle, because this bronzer works on me now and it works on me in the winter. So it's a very buildable formula. It can be light and work on my like NC30 winter skin. You can see it barely shows up on that first pass right now because I'm more tanned, but if I build it up, do you see the difference? It can go from really, really light, working on my NC30 skin, to really being built up and working on my NC40 skin. So I think that if you find a really buildable bronzer, you don't necessarily need 4, 5, 6 bronzers. Then I've got a face palette. So this is the Natasha Denona Very Filthy Tan Bronze and Glow palette. So between the Saddle from Anastasia Beverly Hills and then the bronzer that's in here, that's all I feel like I would need. I've got a matte bronzer, I've got a more sort of satin bronzer from the Anastasia bronzer, and then in here I also have 3 highlights. So this kind of ticks a couple of boxes. For me, this is the bronzer I've got on today, and I also use the highlights from here all over the shop as well. So this gives me, literally, when I bought this, I feel like I could throw out half my highlighters, if not 3/4 of them, because it's got cream, it's got a darker darker highlight for when I'm more tanned and a lighter one for when I'm more fair skinned in the winter. I can mix them together, they have different intensities, it kind of covers me for all bases, has a big mirror, very travel friendly, and a bronzer, which is all really, really nice on the eyes as well. So I feel like that would cover lots of bases if you just were a regular consumer. And then I've thrown in an extra highlight. So this is the Natasha Denona Super Glow, just because this works really, really nicely on my skin when it's lighter. Obviously the Natasha Denona Tan palette is mainly works better, a lot better on my more tanned skin. This one doesn't work on me currently, but in the winter it's my absolute favourite. And then finally, one setting spray or finishing spray. This is my MAC Fix Plus. If you struggle with making your makeup last, obviously you would choose maybe an all-nighter setting spray from Urban Decay, something that extends the wear of your makeup, whereas this is just a straight finishing spray because I don't have issues with my makeup lasting. But one spray. One spray is all you need. And then for eyes, I don't think I would need a special eye primer. I would just use concealer. Why do you need an eye primer if you're not professional, if you're not trying to get the exact best eye look going, or you're not working on clients, or you're not, you know, posting professional photos? Use your concealer. It's basically the same thing. So I wouldn't buy or keep a whole range of eye primers. So eyeshadows, I would choose two palettes. I think between these two palettes, the Modern Renaissance and the Norvina palette, you have got everything you could possibly need as a regular consumer. So in the Norvina palette, you've got pretty, feminine, colourful options for weddings, options for evenings, options for daytime, soft, but all very feminine, girly, pretty, colourful looks in there, as well as being able to tone it down. In here, the Modern Renaissance palette that is beaten to a pulp, you've got very wearable, lots of mattes, lots of everyday options, a bit more of a smoky look, a bit more of a darker look with your deeper tones in the mattes, and very, very wearable, easy, quick looks. So obviously you could mix the two to get something in between. Big mirrors, lovely packaging. I feel like two eyeshadow palettes that do as much as these two do, why would you need anything else? Brows, very simple. One brow product. This is the Benefit Precisely My Brow, and one gel. This is the Morphe gel. All I pretty much ever use on my brows is a pencil and gel, and that's really all you would need as well. One mascara. Mascaras dry up, they go bad. There's no point in having numerous mascaras, so I would have one, and this would be my Monsieur Big. It's what I've used today on upper and lower lashes. Don't need more than one mascara. And then finally, a liner. Obviously some people might like all different kinds of liners. You might like a lighter liner for your lower waterline and a black liner for your upper waterline. You might want a liquid liner, but for me personally, the way I do my makeup most of the time, the use that I get out of liners, I have chosen one pencil liner, and this is MAC's Teddy. It is a dark Teddy brown liner, which I sometimes use just to fill in my lash line and kind of make everything look smokier and blacker. Kind of makes my lashes look longer and thicker as well. So this is the one that I would use. This is by MAC. Very long wearing, very simple, no need for any more. I don't really have very many liners as it is actually. Two lip liners. I feel like when it comes to nudes, especially on my summer skin tone, I always need a liner because otherwise it looks like, you know, foundation lips or whatever. These two between them kind of cover all bases. So this is MAC's Strip Down and MAC's Spice. I can never remember the name of this one. MAC's Spice and MAC's Strip Down. So one kind of works. This is Strip Down and this is Spice. So Spice kind of works with any pinky nudes. It can also work with lots of like cool tones because it kind of is a neutral undertone, but it also works with pinks and browns as well, and even plummy tones. And then Strip Down is like a sort of very perfect with any nude liner. So kind of between these two, it's got you covered for like any nude to deeper nude lip that you may want to do. And then for lip products, I picked 6 lipsticks, again like blushes. There's no point in saying you only need one lipstick because there's all different occasions, there's all different colours, there's all different looks that you might want to do, so there's no point in trying to sort of limit yourself to like 1 or 2 lipsticks because we all have different moods, different vibes, different clothing, different events where we might want to change up our lips. So I think 6 is like a reasonable number. So I've picked kind of 3 sort of nude shades, the lightest being MAC's Dough. This is my go-to throw it on easy nude in the winter. A very sort of wearable, easy, hydrating formula. Love it in hot weather, but it is too light for me at the moment. And then we've got MAC's Whirl, again, a perfect nude for any occasion. Darker, so works really nicely on my current skin tone. But again, I can work it in the winter when I've got lighter skin as a bit more of a punchier lip. And then the last nude is this Down to an Art by MAC, which is a really nice peachy nude, kind of in between the two. As you can see, Dough is a very shiny nude. Down to an Art is called a matte, but it looks actually pretty glowy, whereas Whirl is like a classic matte. So between those three nudes, they kind of give me everything that I need. And then I've got like three kind of more vibrant, bright shade options. So the first up is Charlotte Tilbury's Happy Lips, which was a limited edition, but she has brought back some of the shades. So I'm really hoping this one will return. It's just the perfect peachy, everyday, glowy, or like almost like a pigmented gloss type of look. Very easy and hydrating on the lips. And I love the thinner packaging of these. Next up, another Charlotte Tilbury, and this is her Patsy Red. This is just gorgeous, from her Hot Lips 2 collection that I won the collection of. This is like your bright matte poppy red, and it's just absolutely perfect if you want a bold red or a bright summer lip. And then last but not least, Lisa Eldridge's Go Lightly, which has like instantly overnight become my all-time fave. Bright summer peachy salmon pink lip. You can, again, this formula is so buildable. You can really build it and have a really bright, vibrant lip, or you can have a very soft, subtle lip, depending on your preference. So I feel like between those six, I've got all bases that I could possibly need covered. And one lip gloss. This is the Fenty Gloss Bomb, the original. It's not really going to show on my hand because it's pretty clear just here. This is just a perfect gloss for every occasion. It will go over the top of any shade and work if you want to make a matte lip more glossy. If you just want to go with a gloss and nothing else for the day, again, it will cover you all bases. You don't need 100 different lip glosses. Effectively, they're all the same, unless they're really, really pigmented and coloured, more like the Hourglass glosses. They're almost like a lipstick gloss hybrid. As far as glosses, why do you need 100 of them? So there you have it. That is what my collection would look like if I didn't have my channel, if I wasn't a blogger, if I didn't use these things for excuses. If you don't have any excuses and you're trying to cut down, that's what I feel like a reasonable makeup lover collection could possibly look like if you're trying to be good. So there you are. I'd love to know what you think is like a realistic collection. What should be, you know, a normal person collection if you don't have the excuse of being a blogger, a makeup artist, or a collector. That's a loose excuse, isn't it, really? But we'll take it. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. I would love to see you in a future one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.